everyone, my name is Jessie and welcome back to my channel. And so I'm super excited for this week's video because this is my first video in my Thanksgiving series. And so I did do a couple of videos last year. If you want to check them out, I'll link them in the description box below. But for this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a delicious pumpkin pie. And so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so normally I just follow the recipe on the back of the box, but I noticed something different about this one this year. It has the original famous pumpkin pie, but then they have a new fashioned pumpkin pie recipe, and it's a little bit different. In the original, it calls for sugar, but in this one, it calls for no sugar, but it calls for sweetened condensed milk. And so there is a little bit difference, and I kind of wanted to test it out, see the flavor difference between the original recipe and the new recipe. And so what you're going to need is just 1 can of pure pumpkin puree, 1 cup of evaporated milk, 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, and in this little bowl I have a bunch of spices. So I have half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, and half a teaspoon of ground cloves, along with 2 eggs. And then of course you're going to need a pie crust. I'm using store-bought, but you can also use homemade if you want. And so let's put this all together and let's get started. Okay, so in a large bowl I'm just going to add our 2 eggs and kind of break them up a little bit just so they're easier to mix. Okay, and next I'm going to add our pure pumpkin puree. And you guys, this smells so good already. I love the smell of pumpkin. It's fall season. Who doesn't love pumpkin? Okay, so we're just going to mix the pumpkin with the egg real quick. Get a good arm workout. Because we got some pie to eat and we gotta exercise it off. Okay, so our egg and pumpkin mixture is all mixed together. Now we're going to add all the spices. And that's just going to give it that pumpkin spice flavor. Okay, give that a good mix real quick. Okay, so this is all mixed, and now we're just going to be adding our milk. Just want to slowly mix it as you're pouring in your liquid milk. As you're pouring in your 2 milks. Right, and so I poured in about half of the evaporated milk. And now I'm going to add a little bit of the sweet condensed milk. Oh my gosh, guys, this is super thick. Okay. So I'm just going to like kind of alternate between adding both of them. Okay, so I went ahead and added the evaporated milk and the sweet condensed milk. This is really mixed well together. This looks really good, you guys. Okay, and so I'm just going to go ahead and set this to the side, and then we can get started on our pie crust. Okay, so I have my beautiful pie pan here along with my crust, and you can definitely use homemade if you like, but just to make my life easier, I'm using store-bought. And so I'm just rolling this out and just putting this inside of our baking pie tin. Let's see. And you just kind of want to like play around with it. Make sure it's nice and even. Make sure you take it all the way to the corners at the bottom. Okay, so I went ahead and fixed up my crust, and so I also put it on a baking sheet just so I can protect my oven when I put it in for baking. And so we are just going to go ahead and dump our filling inside. Let's see. Perfect amount. Okay, so one final step before we pop this in the oven is I'm going to use an egg wash. And an egg wash is just egg with a splash of water and you mix it together. And normally I use a pastry brush, but I can't find mine right now. And so in a pinch, you can use your fingers. As long as your fingers are clean, they're perfectly fine to use. So I'm just going to brush them, the edges real quick. That way our crust can have a nice golden tint to it while it bakes, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. Okay, and so I went ahead and brushed my crust with a little bit of aid wash, and so now we are going to pop this in the oven at 425 degrees for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to turn down the temperature to 350 and bake it for another 30 to 40 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. As long as you stick the middle in and it comes out clean, then you're good to go. And there you have it, a delicious homemade pumpkin pie. And so you definitely want to let this cool down and set before you cut into it. Just give it a couple of hours, maybe like an hour or two, you know, let your stomach settle after eating all of that turkey and dressing. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to click that subscribe button along with that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos of mine. But until next time, I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.